In light of the recent situation happening in Israel, I stumbled across this video from many people that have sent it to me. It is the testimony of an ex-Hamas member who gave his life to Jesus and everything that has happened since. Check this out. This is from a few years ago, but I found it extremely interesting.
Your father, who you dearly love, has disowned you. How does that make you feel?
I know my father's heart. I know the Muslim people's heart. They have a great zeal to God. They want to serve him. But this make me insist to fight the real cause behind this disowning or this position of my father. It's not his heart. It's the authority of the God of the Quran above him. So he's simply doing the will of his God. And my problem, more than any time in the past, is with the God of Quran.
Sheesh.
And you've described that as a much different God than the God of the Bible.
To Muslims, the God of the Quran means the God Almighty. Allah, the translation for the word Allah means God, God Almighty. Unfortunately, the God of the Quran, if we compare his personality to the personality of the God of the Bible, we will find the difference. So it doesn't matter if Satan come and appear and tell people, I am God or I'm Jesus Christ, and people start to follow him. This doesn't make him Jesus Christ because he has a name. What matters how he acts. From their fruits, we know them. And the fruits of the God of the Quran is killing, terrorism, beating women, killing children. This is the real fruit of the God of the Quran.
Whoa, this dude has no chill.
This man said, what's PC?
Well, you know, interesting is that in the Quran, the best relationship you can have with God is a slave-master relationship. In the New Testament, Jesus calls his disciples his friends. So, I mean, that just goes to show how there is no father. God's not your father in the Quran, right? So we have father relationship. We do serve our master, right? That is a parallel. But there's also a time where Jesus is saying that the disciples are his friends. So that's a huge contrast between the God of the Quran.
What happened that led you to pray the prayer?
So it took me 6 years to study. It's the transformation wasn't over one night. It was gradually, and I had to study Christianity, Islam from the beginning, and study other religions, not only Christianity and Islam. Also, I considered at some point not to believe in any religion, and I was going nowhere. The only path I found peace. And I think it's good for me and good for all humankind is Jesus Christ.
Wow, that's crazy. This dude definitely got a bounty on his head after coming out and saying this sort of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
This is crazy. I like that he said he studied other religions. He did his research. He leaned into it, and that Jesus is ultimately like the God of peace, right? Like lays down his life. He is the sacrificial lamb.
How should Christians pray for the Palestinians?
We need some actions more than prayers. Prayers are great, you know, and prayers start the desire in our hearts and our minds that we have to take a step. A prayer by itself is not enough. We need to pray hard and be motivated and do something about it. To Palestinians, I'm saying that Jesus Christ didn't come to take sides. He came to take over. We can do it. And we have stories of millions of people coming to Christ today. Let's at least support the ministries who are evangelizing in the Middle East. Like Al-Hayat TV, this satellite TV, it's a great ministry to Muslims to expose Islam and evangelize to them. So we need to support those people. It breaks my heart when I hear that they don't have money for airing, for example. And I see all type of money going for other things. I think this is priority number one. And it's a very important mission for Christians today.
Mossab.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
Here's a recent thing on Fox News. I think this is him now.
Spying for Israel now, converting to Christianity, and ultimately seeking asylum in the U.S. Mossab Hassan returns to us now as he came a few years ago, and now we got more than ever. Mossab, it's great to see you. We'd love to know the inside of this group and how they were able.
This man went from prayer warrior to actual warrior.
Yeah. Wow.
Able to pull off what they did October 7th. First, can you tell the audience your background, people that didn't read your book?
You know, I was born at the heart of Hamas leadership, you know, and I know them very well. They don't care for the Palestinian people. They don't regard the human life. And I saw their brutality firsthand back in 1996 when I spent about a year and a half in Megiddo prison.
Is that him?
You know, they killed so many Palestinian people at that time. And this is when I decided that I cannot be together with this movement. In fact, I asked myself a question: what if they become a ruling party at some point? What will they do? If they succeed in destroying Israel and building their state, what will they do? They will kill our people. And this was the first question, that actually I had to be honest with myself. Even though Hamas gave me advantages, I was like a prince in that world, but I did not like them,
Wow.
And,
well, I mean, listen, when Jesus says you'll know them by their fruit, I know that's about, most folks believe it's about salvation, but that is so obvious. Like, look at the amount of aid that was sent into Gaza. Look at the amount of money that was sent in to these parts. And what do they do with it? They take pipes meant for cleaner water and they use it to build rockets. They take the aid and they don't give it to the people, right?
Yikes.
So when we say you'll know them by their fruit, outside of what political ideology or how bad Israel is or isn't, or how heavy-handed it can't be, you can't sit here and draw moral equivalencies and say the Hamas leadership, which, by the way, had an internal coup with the Fatah party, is anywhere near comparable to Israel. Like you just can't draw that parallel. Right now, again, it's not to go to say that Israel is without fault, but it's just crazy.
Against even my own blood, because this is how much I did not like Hamas. And today, 25 years later, they are the rulers of Gaza, and we see what they are capable of doing.
We saw what happened October 7th. We saw them do what they did to Holocaust victims. They have now over 200 hostages, murdered babies in their cribs, and we see the horror of what they're capable of. Now they've retreated back to Gaza, and a ground incursion is about to happen. Would you recommend Israel do this? And what will they find when they go in?
First of all, we need to evacuate civilians as much as we can. This is an ugly war, and Israel did not start it. Hamas did. Then the strip need to be cut two pieces, north and south, two parts. The northern part, this is where most of the tunnels are. We need to have a solid siege for long enough to deplete the enemy and to starve them. After that, we may need to explore using gas. This is sounds horrible, but I don't see any other option. The tunnels are interconnected, and gas could be one of the solutions, but this has to be in the right time. We cannot just rush into Gaza. There is no.
This man had a plan.
Yeah, this man
retreat civilians,
separate the
north and
from the south,
gas
the tunnels, because there's miles and miles of gas. I mean, of tunnels underneath.
Really?
Yeah, this is a lot of. I want to say 300 miles of tunnels underneath.
What?
Which again, the resources going in. The Palestinian refugees are some of the most well-funded. We send a lot of money over there. UN sends a lot of money over there.
And they're still third world country.
People talk about how, look it up real quick. People talk about how much we give to Israel. Yes, we give $4 billion to Israel, but look up how much money has been sent over to Palestinians from America. It's a serious amount.
President Biden announced today that the United States is providing $100 million in humanitarian assistance for the Palestinian people.
Yeah, no, that's just today.
That's just today. That's one day. In 2021 and 2022, the U.S. was the largest single donor to UNRWA, contributing over $338 million in 2021 and $344 million in 2022. Received over $1.1 billion in donations in 2021 and over $1.17 billion in 2022 from various nations and organizations. What's the UNRWA?
That is the separate organization that they have for Palestinian refugees.
United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees.
So the rest of the known world is under, in terms of refugees, how we came out here, is under different agencies. Specifically the Palestinian refugees have their own organization that just deals with them.
I bet they do.
And so you're talking about over $1 billion a year. Is sent over across the West Bank and Gaza. $1 billion
and they still need electricity piped in from Israel.
and Israel still pipes them in. And again, this isn't an indictment on the Palestinian people, right? Because a lot of them don't know how much this is squandered and how bad the situation really is. This is an indictment of poor leadership and sometimes people voting in bad leadership.
Most importantly, we need to get the civilians out of the picture. As long as there are civilians there, then the operation might be incomplete.
But Musab, you also say it's almost impossible for us to give aid to the Gaza Strip. $100 million we're about to give them and keep it away from Hamas. Don't you agree that can't work?
Look, after we destroy the tunnels, we need to finish Hamas rule in Gaza Strip. This is priority number one. Then we need to replace the regime. Could be the Palestinian Authority, could be the Egyptian government, could be Arab League force.
I don't understand why Egypt doesn't want to step in and run Gaza. Because I feel like we have a way better relationship with Egypt and they can step in and actually run Gaza than the Palestinian Authority or these folks, right? And so it's you want an Arab nation, there's an Arab nation. Everybody operates and cooperates with Egypt, but they're like, nah, they don't want nothing to do with these folks, which is really sad. All of this talk of occupation, all of this talk of imperialism and colonialism, and the Arab people south of the border won't open up their border and deal with the Palestinians.
Be Egyptian government, could be Arab League force. We need to replace their rule in Gaza. After that, we can talk about aid. But as of now, sending any aid is a mistake.
So you also believe that this isn't about the Palestinians fighting for their rights and their sovereignty. What is the real mission of Hamas, and what do they really think of the Palestinian people?
You know, Hamas is not a national movement. Hamas is a religious movement with a goal to establish an Islamic state. They don't care for nationalism. Actually, they are against nationalism. With that said, my understanding that they are using the Palestinian cause only to achieve their goals, so the long-term goal, you know, transforming the Middle East and the world into an Islamic state. This is Hamas agendas, and they are not hidden, by the way. Hamas is serving foreign agendas. We're talking about Iran, and we're talking about Russia lately. Hamas serve those parties, and Iran pays them close to $1 billion annually.
Sheesh.
Iran is the real master in this picture. Hamas does not serve the Palestinian people. Hamas serve Iran. Those are the masters of Hamas.
Wow.
So their lie about nationalism, that they are a national movement and they care for the Palestinian people, look at them. They are using Palestinian people as a human shield. We need to free Gaza from Hamas. This is what Israel is doing. It's doing the Palestinian people the greatest favor by
I hope he's
bringing
right.
Hamas down. Then the Palestinian people, they just want to live a normal life. They don't want missiles in the most populated area on earth to be launched from under hospitals, from crowded areas, and going suicidal and endangering the life of the entire population of Gaza. Who does that? You got to be insane to do such an operation.
Right.
And
you're talking about your family that your family used to believe that, and you used to believe that that was okay, but you don't. Musab, now, quick exit question. Around the globe, and even in our capital, people are protesting for Hamas. They're saying for the Israel to back off and stop with the airstrikes. Well, what do you say to those protesters? What is it about their mindset?
Okay, listen, I cannot convince the entire world of truth. Right now, people are emotional. They hate to see children dying. Even though, you know, Hamas is killing the people at the hospital, and we have evidence of that, but they still blame Israel. People can blame whoever they want, you know, but now we have to concentrate. We have to focus. Public opinion is very important, but unfortunately, it's not the time to win the public opinion. It's the time to win the war against the most brutal terrorist organization living today, you know, and later on, when people look back at the situation, they will understand what we were doing. We should not be afraid of the public opinion.
All the lefties playing patty cake in the corner while he's talking about obliterating Hamas.
We have to explain as much as we can,
and you're doing
but
that.
now we have to concentrate on our goals.
My only thing about that is I just hope he's right. I really hope that the destruction of Hamas, which is what Israel is going to attempt to do, doesn't create something even worse. And I think that would be the bigger L.
Totally.
Here. You know what I mean? We see, according to the Bible, that prayer is extremely important in terms of us being transformed from the inside out when we get aligned with God's will. For the Christians watching this channel, I want you guys to implement these spiritual disciplines in your day-to-day life. And the only way I've been able to do this consistently is through writing down my prayers in a prayer journal that does a few things. One, it allows me to reflect and come to God humbly and ask him to move on my behalf. And two, it allows me to document my prayers, which ultimately help me remember the very things that I was praying for and see the hand of God tangibly in my life when he answers them. So I would urge you, consider writing down your prayers. It could be in a blank notebook. It could even be on your phone. Or you could check out the one I personally designed and used for my own quiet time and spiritual discipline that I think will be a huge blessing. It's the exact structure and system that I've used for years to pray and be more consistent in my spiritual disciplines. You can pick yours up today by clicking the link in the pinned comment below. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.